Alright, so you want to learn how to speak like Jason Statham, do you? You want to eat so many microchips that you can shit out a computer? Well, I'll teach you how. That was a joke. But I am going to teach you how to speak more eloquently, how to speak like a masculine, powerful, charismatic man, because I believe it is the most valuable skill that a man can have. Now, the beautiful thing about this skill is that it is learnt. It doesn't matter how bad you are at speaking right now, you can develop that skill. And I'll give you an example. This is the way I used to speak. Turns out some of you want some help with your credit score. I'll give you basically one tip. I'll try and give you a tip a day. First tip for today is something called the electoral roll. Most of you know what that is. And this is the way I speak now. What are you going back to if you give up on the dream now? You've got from now until you die to make the dream a reality. That's a long time, and all you need to do is improve 1% a day. Over time, I've watched hundreds of video clips of me speaking, and I've noticed very intricate parts of the way I speak. And I've taught myself how to speak fluently, how to speak without using filler words, without umming and ahhing. And that's a very important skill, which I want to impart on you today. So number one, we look at any powerful character in film or television, the masculine men. The thing that we notice about masculine men is that they use less words to say what they want. And that sounds stupidly simple, but you wouldn't believe how many people have just never taken the time to remove all the shit from their vocabulary. When somebody asks for something in a restaurant and they haven't practiced their speech, it usually goes something like this. Waitress comes over, instantly flustered, even though a waitress is going to ask you what you want to order. Whenever you sit in a restaurant, it's like guaranteed to happen. No need to be surprised. It's gonna happen. Comes over, oh, bloody hell, here already, are you? Okay, let's have a look at this. Well, actually, let me think. Well, today, would it be possible if I could have, I think I'll have the fish. Yeah, the fish and chips with the tomato sauce, please. Yeah. Would that be all right? Yeah, great, thank you. How a masculine man orders in a restaurant. Come over, can I take your order? Yes, absolutely. I'll have the ribeye steak, cooked to medium rare, sweet potato fries. Thank you very much. Done. That seems like a very small tip. That will change the way you are perceived by people massively in your life. Same when you go into a shop and you're buying clothes. When you speak to anyone about anything, trim the vocab, trim it away, trim all the fat off of what you want to say and just say what you want. If you look at any great movie character.
Dry martini.
Oui, monsieur.
Wait. 3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of quinoa lily, shake it over rice, and then add a thin slice of lemon peel.
Yes, sir.
You know, I'll have one of those.
So will I. Certainly.
It's James Bond. Not, let me have a think about it. I'll have a vodka martini. Think I'll have it. Would you mind shaking it rather than stirring it? Number 2, to add to that, don't speak like you're apologising. When you see powerful characters, they speak powerfully. They might say very little. They might say it quietly, but it always comes from the chest. They're sure of the words as they come out of their mouth. And they will look somebody dead in the eye and say something and not feel bad about it. I had a habit previously of thinking that if I was softly spoken, if I sort of beat around the bush a bit more, I'd be more palatable. And pointed out to me at dinner last night that when you use the filter, it tells everybody at the top of the screen. And I'd used a filter called Cutie by Harry Jowsey on my credit tip that day. Embarrassing. More likeable, if I sort of... it's kind of this defense mechanism to not feeling like an alpha or not feeling like the man in a situation. You bow down a little bit and you just sort of trickle these words out, not wanting to upset whoever the power player in the room is. I think that actually does the reverse of what you
think it does, or what I used to think it does. Actually, I know that for a fact because I've seen it in my own life. When I used to speak like that, it allows people the chance to take advantage of you. It instantly positions them above you in their mind. And I get it now. If somebody comes to speak to me and they cannot look me in the eye and they do not speak from their chest and they mumble their words, I steal their power. I look at them and I think, well, it's very, very nice to meet you, young chap. And I wish you well, but my God, do I crush you right now. I absolutely crush you. And I don't think that's particularly a nice thing, but it's just the way of the world. And you've got to realise if you're doing that, and I realise that, and now try my utmost to make sure that no matter what room I'm in, I talk like I mean it. It doesn't mean shouting at people or saying things that I wouldn't usually say. It just means if I have something to say, I say it so people can hear it. I look them dead in the eyes and I stand by my words. Number 3, slow it down. When you can take tactical pauses, you can draw an audience in to what you say. And you will hang on my every word until I finish my sentence. That's the power of slowing down. Whenever we get nervous, which for most people is when they have a social interaction with a woman, a social interaction with a friend or a business meeting, they start to get a little bit of adrenaline. And adrenaline speeds things up in your mind. It speeds up your thought patterns. Your mind starts to race. Therefore, your mouth starts to race. You're not quite thinking about what's coming out of your mouth before you say it. Whenever you go into a conversation, you start to feel those nerves. Just think to yourself, I'm going to speak a little bit slower than feels comfortable for me. Now, I don't know about you guys, but to me, this feels like I'm speaking incredibly slowly. But put in the comments if you felt like it was too slow, if it would be weird in conversation, or if it actually enticed you more into what I was saying. Because that's the power of slowing your speech down. And again, look at those movie characters. They speak slowly, they speak clearly, they pronounce their words, they speak from their chest, and they look you dead in the eye.
Excuse me, Mr. Spector. I was wondering if you might need a hand sometime with one of your matters. Anyone.
Well, Alan,
It's Aaron.
I think that says it all, don't you?
Number 4 is pausing instead of using filler words. Filler words are ums and ahs. Most people's speech is littered with various different words that shouldn't be there. Oh, I was just thinking about going here like the other day, and then like we did this thing. I guess that's kind of how I feel about it. It's a terrible way to speak. It can be completely trained out of you. Watch most of my videos and I don't use filler words ever. That's conscious, it's by design. You have to be very good at allowing your brain to catch up to what you're saying rather than trying to fill silent or dead space. The way you do this is by speaking to a camera for 3 minutes a day, directly into the lens with eye contact, occasional glances away, but telling something to a camera. You don't have to post these vids, but saying something to a camera 3 minutes a day, in a year's time, you will be better at speaking than 90% of people. Because what you do is you would go and get your iPhone out now and speak to it directly into the lens for 3 minutes. And you probably think to yourself, what do I say? If you have nothing to say, you need to read more. The more you read, the more information goes into your mind. The better books you read, the better information goes into your mind.
I reached straight for sort of self-help genre, and I came across the book Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins, and I can't praise the book enough. It helps you understand your mind, understand what's going on. It just shows you that you're...
So quite a good strategy for this is to film yourself for 3 minutes a day after reading 20 pages of a book. Summarise what you just learned to that camera to get your practice in on your speech. Now, when you do it for the first time, it's going to be terrible. Most likely, if you've never practiced your speech, it's going to be littered with ums and ahs. You're going to notice facial tics or movements that you didn't even know you were doing. That's why this is so important. Most people hate watching themselves on camera. The reason they hate watching themselves on camera is because they look different to how they view themselves in their mind. It's very important as a man that we are the same in our mind as we are in the world. There's no use in your mind of thinking, I'm this cool, charismatic, amazing guy, but you can't watch a video of yourself talking for 3 minutes because you hate the way you look. So the thing that's going on in your mind is a fallacy. It's not real. So you have to align those two skills. So on day one, you have a look and you review and you write down 3 things you're going to improve tomorrow. Ums and ahs all fucking over the place. I'm going to pause between saying words if I don't know what to say, and then I am just going to continue with my speech rather than using an or an ah filler word. Whenever I say the word like, I'm going to get rid of it, and I'm just going to say exactly what I mean rather than saying like the other day, like we did this thing, like. You're going to get rid of those. And then the next day, you try again. Maybe on day 2, you realise, oh, every time I don't have something to say, I start rubbing this eye, or I start twitching or tweaking out. Tomorrow, I'm going to try not to do that. In a year's time, you will be a better speaker than 90% of people on the planet. And bearing in mind, this is the most valuable skill that a man can possess. It's something that I really think you should take the time to do. Now, this brings me on to active listening. Active listening is just as important as being a fantastic speaker. Half of your conversations will be you listening to somebody rather than doing the talking. Probably more than half if you are a good conversationalist. A good conversationalist allows other people to speak more than himself. If you watch yourself in a podcast for the first time, most of you have not done a podcast, but if you have, you will be horrified, as I have been many times through filming podcasts, because somebody else is talking, and rather than sitting there like a normal person and just listening, I'm doing this. That's literally my face. That's not an exaggeration. I'm somebody who literally has done podcasts many, many times, and I look at myself horrified. And I go, holy fucking shit, why am I doing that? I look like a retarded person with major issues. And over time, I've learned to control that. And the way you do it is, when you are actively listening to somebody, you will have this learnt habit, this inclination to start nodding, going, yep, yep, yep. It's quite an annoying habit. So it's not actually good active listening. Active listening, you look somebody dead in the eyes, and you have little micro expressions, maybe a slight raise of the eyebrow or a slight nod as you take something in, or a slight squint of the eyes. But for the most part, your listening should be accompanied by stillness. One of the greatest acts of masculinity is stillness. The more still a man can be, the slower, more still and in control of his movements, his facial expressions and environment, the more masculine he comes across. One of the greatest places to practice that is in your listening with other people, especially with women. A woman doesn't want to be talking to you or talking to me and me looking like a fucking baboon going, oh yeah, oh wow, that's amazing. Tell me more about that. That's literally what I do. You might not think it, but sometimes my brain takes over and I look very, very odd. One of the things to consciously keep in your mind, which will then become habit over time, it's just more stillness when you listen. Still the occasional nod, still a laugh if you think something's funny, but not engrossing yourself and kind of saying the fucking words back to them and sticking your tongue out and things like that. Do a podcast with one of your friends and just see how you active listen. It's a horrifying experience, but something that should be mastered in order to speak and have masculine conversation very well, because more than half of your time will be spent listening. All right, let's talk eye contact. Eye contact is a power play. If you can't look somebody in the eyes when you shake their hand, this is my recommended handshake as well. When you go up to somebody, always stand when somebody comes to shake your hand. Never stay seated. Always stand up. I like to preempt the handshake. Stand up. The hand goes out 5 to 10 seconds on the approach. Nice. Put it out like that. Grab the hand. Direct eye contact. Medium grip. Don't squeeze the hand to pieces. That's just a fucking weird thing to do. Medium grip, directly in the eyes. Nice to meet you. That's how you correctly shake hands with somebody. And the eye contact, when somebody else is speaking, just focus on one of their eyes, give them 10 to 15 seconds of direct eye contact, and then look away. They will most likely be looking away every now and again as well when they're speaking. This sometimes changes with women. If you want to power play with a woman, you can gently look into her eyes, but not like you're staring into her soul with like these fucking beady fucking weird fucking eyes. You're kind of like gently looking at her, gently looking at one eye. If you like the woman, a psychological trick that you can do to make her more likely to kiss you is you look from one eye to the other eye, to the lips, and back up to the other eye. So call it the kiss triangle. You look gently from one eye to the other, and down to her lips, and back up to her eyes. And you could sort of look away a little bit, and then look back up her. Catching that eye is quite an important little nuance of conversation. This is more of the voice that I use when I speak to women. I slow things down. I don't want it to be brash. You can even use the whisper, because you want to be closer with a woman, and you kind of learn to relax these eyes. You like let them be more gentle. You let everything become more gentle rather than brash. The guys I've seen be the best with women, with their conversation, the way they speak masculinely, is when they are quite gentle, quite smooth, not over the top, quite funny or charming. The guys I've seen be the absolute worst with women, that just seem to make women run a mile, are the serious, very brash, instantly talking, straight in the eyes. Like, it's quite scary, obviously. But when you calm everything down and you start to, that's what I would kind of call seduction. You learn to just slow things down, have a laugh, and be a bit charming with a woman, with the way you speak and smile and find things she says a little bit funny, and don't take things too serious. If you have a lot of shyness around looking somebody in the eye, just have a think about how much you're masturbating. And that sounds absurd to say, but if you masturbate, you will find it more difficult to look somebody in the eye. Don't believe me? Don't fucking wank for 2 weeks. See how much more powerful you become. Something about it. For me, I exclusively retain my seed unless I'm putting it onto a woman's face, or tits, or ass. But it makes a big, big difference to your confidence, your ability to hold that gaze and not feel uncomfortable with it. So does your testosterone. If you want to boost your testosterone, you want to get in the best shape of your life, become more of a formidable person, have more confidence in yourself, check out the 90-Day Savage Challenge down below, a discipline challenge to completely change your life. Now, to finish up this video, I want to just give you a little insight into charisma. One of the things you might have noticed in my videos is that I'm silly. I can be deadly serious and speak to you like I want to educate you, and then I can say the most absurd things and be funny. This is a learnt skill. You've got to learn the comedy side of speaking. And how this is learned is by studying comics. It's by studying very funny characters that make you laugh. If you watch enough comedy on television, if you listen to enough funny voices of characters that people know, over time you will learn the voices. You will be able to repeat the speech that they say. You will learn comedic timing and where to throw things in. Combine this with your increased confidence and your ability to be taken seriously by speaking masculinely. The flip side of that, the sort of yin to your yang, is that you can also throw in the comedy and the lightheartedness. To not get stuck as the serious guy that is just all business, all money, speaks so well, but my God, is it tiring. You've got to give people that comedic respite, especially in a video like this. If I want you to sit and listen to me, it has to be partly entertaining. It becomes partly entertaining because I say some funny things every now and again. So you kind of think to yourself, oh, I'm waiting for the laugh. I've learned pretty much all comedic timing. All of the voices that I do, or little bits of silliness that I have, are mostly learned from television and film. A lot of what you see is the way we learn speech, the way we learn body language, the way we learn behaviors ever is by seeing them. That's how we are raised by a family. Depending on how good your father was at speaking, depends on how good you are. Doesn't have to stop there. The characters you watch, the way they speak, you can learn it, you can copy it, and you can speak in the same way. I've developed quite an interesting accent. over the years, with the television I've watched, the places that I've lived, the different bits of speech that I like, some of the Americanisms that I say, and some of the true British eloquence that I keep, has all been sort of engineered and designed, and you can do that too. So that's about all I have to say on speaking. I'm pretty tired, to be honest. I was up at 5 a.m. this morning on a shoot on the Ducati, which is fucking sick. So good. Did a cinematic shoot for Friday's video. Hopefully we get it done in time for Friday, otherwise it would be a talking head. But I think we can do it. I reckon we can do it. I'll throw in a clip now, a little bonus clip, me on the Ducati.
Pulling out the coupe at the lot, told him fuck 12, fuck SWAT, buzzing out.
Did an amazing shoot, but I only had about 4 hours sleep last night. So if this video was retarded and slow, that's why. But guys, I hope you enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure. Go and speak like a man. Do your practice steps. I'll see you on the next one. All right? Whoop-ow!